In the golden era of 1990s television, no show captured the heart of America quite like the one that transformed a nerdy neighbor with suspenders and spectacles into a cultural phenomenon. But behind the laughter and the unforgettable catchphrases, the actors who brought the Winslow family into our living rooms lived lives far more dramatic than anything written in the scripts. Some climbed to extraordinary heights, others vanished into the shadows, and a few met endings so heartbreaking they still echo through Hollywood today. At the center of it all stood a man who became the template for the perfect television father. Already in his late 30s when cameras first rolled, this gentle giant had spent years as a working actor, appearing in everything from Die Hard to Ghostbusters, but nothing could prepare him for the phenomenon that was about to consume his life. He played the donut-loving sergeant who spent countless evenings chasing Steve Urkel out of his kitchen, yet always managed to deliver a warm embrace when the laughter faded. What audiences never saw was the quiet dignity of a man who understood that his role extended far beyond the set, serving as a positive father figure for millions of children who tuned in every Friday night. Today, in his early 70s, he has reinvented himself completely, appearing in commercials that celebrate his enduring legacy and lending his unmistakable voice to animated projects that introduce him to an entirely new generation. But the beating heart of the phenomenon was a teenager who had no idea he was about to make television history. At just 12 years old, he stepped onto the soundstage for what was supposed to be a single episode, wearing high-water pants and glasses held together with tape. The character was meant to be forgettable, just another awkward neighbor passing through. Instead, something magical happened the moment he squeaked out those three simple words, "Did I do that?" Within weeks, the show that had been built around the police sergeant and his family found itself completely hijacked by the very force they had accidentally unleashed. Producers scrambled to rewrite entire seasons, transforming the one-time guest star into the undeniable center of gravity. What made his performance truly extraordinary was his ability to create not one but two completely distinct characters, seamlessly switching between the high-pitched nerd and his impossibly smooth alter ego. Now approaching 50, he has proven himself far more than a one-note wonder, publishing a revealing memoir about growing up in those famous suspenders and hosting game shows with the same charm that once made teenage girls swoon. The girl who spent years running from his advances was barely a teenager herself when she stepped into the role that would define her youth. With her infectious smile and natural grace, she embodied every boy's fantasy of the perfect girl next door, the unattainable prize at the end of a 7-year chase. Her character's evolution from dismissive cheerleader to woman who finally saw past the nerd exterior gave the series its most satisfying romantic payoff. But while cameras captured her wedding to the man in the suspenders, real life took her in a completely different direction. Rather than chasing further fame, she made the conscious decision to step away from the spotlight, devoting herself to raising a family and using her platform to create opportunities for underserved students. The friendship she maintained with her on-screen husband for more than 3 decades stands as a testament to the genuine bonds formed during those formative years. The eldest son arrived on set already a working actor at 13, bringing a grounded authenticity to the role of the varsity jacket-wearing teenager struggling to live up to his father's expectations. His character's journey from rebellious youth to responsible police officer mirrored the show's own evolution, providing a realistic counterbalance to the increasingly outrageous antics happening next door. What viewers didn't realize was that off-screen, he was quietly building a parallel career in music that would eventually prove just as significant as his acting work. Today, in his late 40s, he has become one of the most recognizable voices in animation, bringing characters to life in blockbuster franchises while continuing to produce independent projects that showcase his range as an artist. Then there was the actress who arrived on set in her late 30s, already possessing decades of experience that would prove invaluable in anchoring the chaos around her. As the fierce matriarch who ran the Winslow household with an iron fist wrapped in velvet, she delivered the moral lessons that gave each episode its heart. Her sharp wit and commanding presence made her the perfect foil to her on-screen husband, and audiences genuinely believed in the chemistry between them. When she made the difficult decision to depart before the final season, it left a void that could never truly be filled. But rather than fade away, she reinvented herself in animation, giving voice to one of the most memorable grandmothers in cartoon history and proving that true talent only deepens with time. Her younger sister on screen arrived with a completely different background, having already achieved fame as a singer in one of the most successful groups of the previous decade. She brought musical energy and entrepreneurial spirit to the role, opening the beloved restaurant that became a central gathering place for the characters. Her character's struggles as a single mother resonated with viewers who appreciated seeing realistic challenges portrayed alongside the comedy. Now in her late 70s, she remains a constant presence on television, reuniting with former castmates and demonstrating that her comedic instincts remain as sharp as ever. The grandmother who welcomed everyone with open arms was already 78 when she joined the cast, bringing with her a legacy that extended far beyond acting. As a pioneering theater producer who had spent decades fighting for racial equality in the arts, she understood that her role on a popular sitcom represented something larger than entertainment. Her character's unconditional acceptance of the annoying neighbor sent a powerful message about kindness that resonated with audiences of all ages. When she passed away just shy of her 91st birthday, she had received the National Medal of Arts from the President, a fitting tribute to a life devoted to breaking down barriers. But not every story ended with peaceful retirement or continued success. The young woman who brought obsessive comic energy to the role of the jealous girlfriend arrived on set at 24, matching the lead actor scene for scene with her manic intensity. Her beauty and talent made her an instant standout, and audiences eagerly anticipated every appearance of the girl who refused to take no for an answer. Just as her career was reaching its peak, just months after the final episode aired, she received a devastating diagnosis. A rare form of stomach cancer moved quickly, and at barely 30 years old, she was gone. Her death sent shockwaves through the cast, who gathered to mourn a bright light extinguished far too soon, leaving behind the haunting question of what she might have accomplished. The youngest daughter holds a unique and somewhat uncomfortable place in television history. At just 9 years old, she played the adorable little sister for 4 full seasons, becoming a familiar face in millions of households. Then one day, her character walked up the stairs and simply never came back down. No explanation, no farewell episode, no acknowledgement that she had ever existed. Budget cuts had claimed her, and in the brutal arithmetic of network television, she became expendable. What followed in her personal life was equally harsh, as she struggled publicly with addiction while the world watched. But her story contains a powerful redemption arc that deserves recognition. Today, approaching her mid-40s, she has rebuilt herself completely, emerging as a dedicated mother and advocate who uses her painful experiences to help others facing similar battles. The dim-witted but lovable best friend arrived on set at 16, creating a character so memorably slow that his misunderstandings became comedy gold. His signature greeting and unlikely journey to culinary genius provided some of the show's most hilarious moments. Yet beneath the jokes, his character remained unfailingly loyal and kind, teaching viewers that intelligence takes many forms. Now in his early 50s, he has become a beloved fixture at conventions, where fans still greet him with his famous catchphrase, proving that gentle humor never goes out of style. One actress stepped into impossibly large shoes when she took over the matriarch role for the final episodes, facing an audience deeply loyal to the original face of the character. Rather than attempting imitation, she brought her own warmth and grace to the part, helping guide the Winslow saga to its conclusion with dignity. Her background in theater, where she had established herself as both an accomplished director and actress, prepared her perfectly for the challenge. Now approaching 80, she continues mentoring young performers, passing along wisdom accumulated over 6 decades in the arts. The captain who brought swagger to the police precinct was already a legend when he arrived, having created one of television's most groundbreaking characters years earlier. His loud demands and outrageous requests provided the perfect counterpoint to the sergeant's patient professionalism, and watching 2 sitcom titans share scenes was pure magic for audiences. When he passed away in his mid-70s, he left behind a legacy as one of the funniest men ever to grace the small screen, remembered for his distinctive walk and unmistakable confidence. The best friend who shared more than just a name with her character experienced something almost unheard of in television when writers named the role after her, acknowledging her close real-life connection to the show's creator. Her character served as the voice of reason, gently pushing her best friend to look past surface impressions and recognize genuine love. Today, In her early 50s, she has become a successful producer and author, continuing to charm audiences just as she did when she first appeared on screen decades ago. One of the most heartbreaking stories belongs to the little girl who arrived on set before her 5th birthday, already displaying the star power that would eventually make her a global sensation. Her precocious scene-stealing as a child with a crush gave early hints of the immense talent the world would later celebrate. When she passed away in her early 30s, using her final moments to save her young son, the world collectively mourned not just an extraordinary artist but a mother whose last act exemplified pure love. Her legacy continues to inspire millions who remember both her music and her ultimate sacrifice. The foster child who joined the family in later seasons brought fresh energy at just 8 years old, playing the street-smart kid whose adoption completed the Winslow household. His natural comedic timing launched him toward future success on children's networks, though his journey through adulthood has been complicated and publicly documented. Having recently celebrated his 38th birthday, those who grew up watching him continue hoping for his complete recovery and return to the stability he deserves. The bumbling lieutenant who provided comic relief at the police station arrived in his late 40s, creating a character whose incompetence was matched only by his shameless love of free food. His reliance on the sergeant to save him from his own mistakes made for consistently hilarious television. When leukemia claimed him in his mid-70s, he left behind a body of work spanning beloved science fiction and classic sitcoms, remembered by colleagues as one of the kindest gentlemen in the business. The feisty housekeeper appeared only briefly during the first season, but her sharp tongue made an impression that lasted far longer than her time on screen. A prolific character actress, she created small but unforgettable moments in some of cinema's most beloved films before passing away peacefully at 91, leaving behind a filmography filled with tiny roles that somehow always stole the scene. The sophisticated actor who guest-starred as Buddy brought instant credibility to every scene, already beloved for his previous work on another classic sitcom. His appearance alongside the sergeant created a delightful moment of police camaraderie that fans adored. He later achieved legendary status among science fiction enthusiasts for his role in a cult classic series that found new life long after its cancellation. When respiratory failure claimed him in his early 70s, the entertainment world lost one of its most elegant performers. And finally, the woman who perfectly explained why the obsessive girlfriend turned out the way she did brought manic energy as the equally eccentric mother. Her wide-eyed expressions and comedic enthusiasm matched her on-screen daughter beat for beat, proving that craziness absolutely runs in the family. Now approaching 80, she remains a vibrant advocate for fighting ageism in Hollywood, performing one-woman shows and demonstrating that spirit has no expiration date. 3 decades have passed since the Winslow family first invited America into their Chicago home. Some cast members found fortune beyond their wildest dreams, others discovered peace away from the spotlight, and a few left this world far too soon. But the laughter they created together, the catchphrases that still echo in our memories, and the family they became for each other endure in ways no budget cut or tragedy can erase.